Thank you. All right, looking at agriculture, from 1960 until now, how much of wins can you say Nigeria has had?
Plenty, quite a lot. We've had so much increases. Looking at the population growth in the 60s up until now, we have exponentially increased in numbers. So also has our output in agricultural produce. As a matter of fact, it can be argued and it can be said, and it's actually a reality, that we're producing 10 times more than what we used to produce during the groundnut pyramids, or when we were exporting cocoa or any other product. So certainly there are a lot of, if you like, gains in terms of agricultural produce. The thing is, we've also had missed opportunities, plenty of missed opportunities.
Okay, Nigeria has land area of about 70.8 million hectares. Will you say that this has been effectively utilized based on your experience over the years?
Certainly no. We have vast land. We're blessed. Not only is it vast, it's easily cultivatable. It is extremely fertile, alluvial soil, volcanic ash soil. Anywhere you eat a mango fruit, throw away the seed, come back in a few months' time, it's growing, and within a short period of time, you'll be plugging mangoes off it. Same with corn, same with any other produce. Just throw it and it grows. We have vast land, but certainly it's not utilized. How? Because of our tenement systems. The way we go about agriculture. You rightly picked up earlier when you said that agriculture is contributing, in terms of foreign exchange earnings, is contributing maybe fourth or fifth even to the GDP. And that's mainly because we've not been utilizing it. It's been agrarian, small-scale farmers. Somebody, him and his wife, maybe with a child or two, they're just using basic implements, basic tools to farm, hard labor type thing. It's definitely not effective, let alone for us to begin to think it's efficient. We're basically wasting away, and these are some of the areas where we have the missed opportunities.
All right, let's look at the access to markets. Now, for crop products even, how easy do farmers find it to get to the markets before some of the goods perish? Let's look at that.
Extremely vital, extremely difficult at the moment for local farmers, very expensive for them. Because again, we're back to the supply chain needs. We're back to some of the value chain as well. So the supply chain would require what, for instance? Definitely logistics, definitely storage, cold storage, for instance, definitely packaging. And associated with that is the semi-processing and or full processing plants, or some kind of, if you like, communal type, some kind of effort, joint effort, whereby there is a semi-processing outlet for vegetables, products with short shelf life, even yams, for instance. Cassava, of course, can stay longer. Yam can stay a little longer, but vegetables and horticulture, they can't. Fresh meat, fresh poultry, for instance, it does not last long. So you need those cold storages. And even with the cereals, you need silos. So all of those are some of the supply chain resources that are needed. In addition to that is management. In addition to that are people, competent people that know what they're supposed to do. You earlier on asked about effectiveness. We're not supposed to be aiming at effectiveness, i.e. delivering what we're supposed to deliver. We're supposed to deliver it in the shortest possible time with the best costs so as to benefit the consumer, the market out there, and at the right time, right quantities, consistent supply. And that's where the efficiency gain normally would come in. That's where maybe those lost opportunities can be gained also. So certainly we need to do much, much, much more on that. It's horrendously expensive now for the small local farmer.
Let me point your attention to this figure released by the Nigeria Bureau of Statistics. You know, towards the last quarter of last year, agri was contributing about 30% to the GDP. But if you look at the figure for the first quarter of this year, it's less than that. That's like 19.6%. What do you think is likely responsible for this shortfall?
A variety of things. Certainly 30% is reasonable contribution to a GDP, any GDP, certainly. Now, of course, agriculture too is the biggest employer in the nation today. Now, some of the factors that are mitigating against maybe the impact of agriculture would include maybe normal natural weather, act of God type related situations. We know of those. But certainly there are things that we can do. Very, very, very poor planning. Very, very limited resources. Maybe lacking resources. And there are plenty of resources we can list and name. Funding, access to credit is one. Insecurity is a major big one of late, whereby farmers cannot go to their farms, even in their, if you like, menial way. They cannot produce for themselves, let alone for the nation at the end of the day. And lack of us being coordinated. We don't have specific objectives. They're not objectives that we can say, okay, they're quantifiable, we can measure and see. Are they realistic? Can we achieve them? Are they normally organized and planned within some timeline? Basically, our thinking, our vision is not coherent. We're not systematic. We're not consistent. Everybody does whatever he or she can do to sustain themselves, which is great, by the way. And I raise my heart to our farmers. The efforts we are individually making is incredible. All we need is some coordinated effort, whereby there is a vision, whereby we say, okay, we're not going to be just earning 10 naira, say, on a hectare of land. We should be earning 40 naira. Fourfold increases in anything once we begin to market properly, not just internally, but maybe also externally.
Okay, talking about marketing externally, that would refer to exports. So how can Nigeria break into the international markets? Yes, some farmers have been able to do that for some products, but we still find a rejection of Nigerian agricultural products in the international markets. So how can farmers change that narrative?
In external marketing and access to external markets, two broad things normally would be considered. Every other thing will be under one of those two things. One is the product itself. So what product are you referring to? Two, what market? You need to understand the market. We need to understand the market we're intending to go into, the landscape, the needs of that market. Can the needs be met by us? What are the regulations of that market? What are the restrictions, the licenses required, the tariffs that are there? Are there quotas, for instance? There may be restrictions as to what comes in, how it comes in, the form in which it comes in. Remember, there are competitors as well. We're not the only suppliers in the world. There are maybe possibly even better competitors that will provide a certain product better than us, and depending on what kind of product. So what are, for instance, our own internal issues that we need to do? Do we need to package? Do we need to maybe provide a certain kind of quality, a certain kind of potency, a certain kind of standard in a consistent manner at a certain price over time, and when they need it, when they require it, consistently, not to provide it this month, like we do with honey, for instance. Blossom honey is one big example. We have 17 different kinds of blossom honey in Nigeria. Now, when you provide and say the white blossom honey, the most desired honey, we cannot consistently provide that. Neither can we also continue to provide the same quality. In Nigeria, one of our issues is that of ensuring we meet the need of the market. Whatever the market needs, we're supposed to work towards that, not work towards now the thing where I get, now I go give. No, it doesn't work that way. We have to kind of sort out ourselves internally, how our vision absolutely crystal clear, know what we need to export. There are certain things we cannot export, we should not export. But things like coffee in the Mambila area, things like cocoa, things like blossom honey we mentioned, things like Beniseed, and there are several others that we can semi-process or maybe even fully process palm and the cassava starch, stuff like that. We can definitely do those and then export them to certain markets. Target those markets. Understand the segment you want to go into. Once you understand the segment that you want to go into, you would have targeted it, you would have qualified the market, and you would then be able to say, okay, I'll penetrate this particular market, given the stiff competition that is coming from outside. So is this strategic planning? Is this overall thinking, the vision, and basically we need to be purposeful and very intentional if we really want to go to an external market.
Now let's look at crop production in Nigeria, which is the largest subsector as far as agric is concerned in Nigeria. But if you look at the present figure, looking at food inflation in Nigeria, it has been skyrocketing, as at the figure that was released in August, that's like 29.3%. Talk to us, what are the missing links? Nigeria is blessed, we have the natural resources, we have everything, talking about agriculture, but the results are not being encouraging. The food inflation is at 29.3%. Talk to us, what are the missing links?
You're absolutely correct. To begin to even mention that we have vast potential and possibilities is an insult in itself. It's a given that we do. We don't even need to argue or defend that or try to justify that. Some of the issues are possibly in terms of us not being able to produce sufficient crops. A variety of things. Like we say, the planning, strategic thinking, being intentional. We're not. The support systems that should be there. We need to be working towards making sure that there is consistency in potency. By crops, I am assuming you mean cereals. So the beans, for instance, the maize, for instance, the sorghum, for instance, the corn, for instance, the millet, for instance, and other such related crops. There are other crops, of course. There are rhizomes, and there are also tree crops. So a variety of things we could look at, but the thing is we are scattered. Okay, it's okay to have a scattered focused approach, but within each, we have to be making sure that we're consistent, we know what the output is likely going to be. We are supposed to provide very good quality, good quantities, right time, and right prices at the end of the day. So the input that comes into it, that's where we miss out. The input that goes into the production system. Also, we need to look at GMO and non-GMO type crops at the end of the day. So if we are saying that we desire a particular kind of potency, a particular kind of corn, we want to use the corn for cornflakes, or are we using the corn for flour, or are we using the corn for bread making, or if it's wheat, hard wheat, soft wheat. For pasta, for instance, for all the spaghettis and whatnot, versus all the confectionaries, the bread, the cakes, and whatnot. So it depends on a variety of things. We are at the moment not consistent. We are at the moment, we're lacking, if you like, that overall leadership direction, whereby as a nation, we will have that enabling environment, the condition whereby we are purposeful. And once we are purposeful, then we are more likely going to be having the kind of desired outcomes that we need, we require.
All right, the focus has always been on primary products, harvesting the crops from the field and then selling. But there are opportunities for value addition and agribusiness, which will enhance market access and also increase farmers' income. But what are the challenges with this?
Again, we're back to the supply chain needs, the resources we mentioned earlier. In addition to the huge production needs, we need logistics, we need storage, we need semi-processing, we need full processing, we need access to credit, we need, even in itself, right at the beginning, the right kind of potent products and produce that we desire, that the market requires, not what we want to give to the market, that which the market needs. GMO chicken, for instance, versus non-GMO chicken. Nigerians generally, for instance, internally here, that is, we prefer what we call the local chicken. There are ways in which we can grow them in vast quantities. As it is, doing them in the traditional method and approach will never meet the need, the quantities required. However, we can have, if like the modern method, improved systems of large-scale production, but providing also something that is better than the local chicken product, that is more healthier, that is of a better quality, of a better taste at the end of the day, without having to resort to, say, GMO type. So there are many ways in which we can, but at the moment, what we are doing is everybody just trying to survive. I understand that and I respect that, and I will appreciate the fact that, yeah, we first need to survive. But then we have to go beyond that. Our leadership has to think beyond that. The associations have to be more focused, more serious. Look at the issue of the funding that was provided of late, in the last few years, to agriculture. Billions, maybe even trillions of naira was given out as loans. Did it actually go to farmers? No. At the end of the day, by and large, we can say no, it's not. So access to credit that is genuine, that is purposeful, that is intentional, and that we really truly want to make sure that what we say we're going to do is what we are doing. The loans can never be recouped. Most of the loans will have to be written off, or state governments have to carry the burden because they underwrote those loans, and it was, correct me, mismanaged. I'm trying to be very, very generous here in my use of my words. At the end of the day, there are many things that we need to correct and make sure that leadership is providing that enabling environment. And amongst ourselves as well, a change mindset. Business people begin to invest in agriculture. There is no any other way. Listen, the value chain is the only thing that would give us the real value that lies within. Not producing and selling raw materials, not producing granules and eating granules. What do we do with granules? We fry it, we boil it. At most, we do the kuli type thing, the peanut butter that is, and we get the oil. These are about the 4 products we get from granules. But do you know we can get 17 different products from granules? Maize, we can get 27 products from it at the end of the day, and so on and so forth. So it is the value chain that is our saving grace. That will be the only way forward if we really want to increase our GDP to what we have been projecting, to maybe say $2-3 trillion GDP, which we should have been there anyway by now, but we've been missing opportunities so much, and that's mainly because we have neglected the value chain.
I like the fact that you identify the issue of lack of financing, and this will bring us to this. You're aware that one of the initiatives introduced by the federal government is this Anchor Borrowers Program. Talk to us. What do you think went wrong with this program? Where has it taken us, and what can be done to improve on this kind of intervention programs?
The Nigerian factor was what went wrong. And I'm being generous. I'm trying to be sensitive. trying to be like politically correct. The Nigerian factor went into it. The Uncle Borrower program, good intentioned, but very, very poor in implementation. No control measures, no oversight, neglect, and therefore there was pilfering left, right, and center. Okay, we spread it through the banks. Okay, we have BVNs that were listed, but were payments made to these BVNs? Did we follow through and confirm and assure ourselves that payments went into those accounts? Not only that, are we sure that we followed through to support the farmer, communicate with the farmer, engage the actual farmer, see what issues and challenges they're likely going to be facing? The fact that you throw money at something is not about it. It's good to have resources. Money contributes. In anything that money matters, money would contribute or takes the weight of 90%. However, if you throw money at something and you don't have the management, you don't have the people, you don't have the competence, you don't have the support systems, you don't follow through, you leave it, it will certainly fail. If you give me now, say I have been looking for the last 5 years, I've been looking to start my executive. I'll give an example to make it clear. I'm wanting to start an executive car rental company, and you come, you give me maybe 100 S-Class Mercedes-Benzes to start that. Money was what I had needed for the last 5 years, and I've been struggling to get that money. And suddenly you come, you give me the 100 Mercedes-Benzes, high-end, and I don't have the management. Those Mercedes-Benzes will be off the road within 3 to 6 months. It's the same with the Anchor program. We gave out billions, trillions, but we never followed through. We never made sure that it was managed well. We never made sure that risks were mitigated. We never made sure that implementation was thorough and proper and given to the right individuals. So we would definitely not have any outcome. It has failed, and that's what I say and what I was referring to when I say the Nigerian fact.
All right, on a final note on this discussion, we're in an age of technology. So how can technology enhance market access for farmers?
Oh, huge. Absolutely huge. Right from day one. First, with our research centers, with our universities, and with our subcultural laboratories. And they are doing out of this world. And we thank them for the effort that they've made in virtually any crop and every crop in Nigeria. So technology has enhanced that. Technology would enhance systems. Technology enhance even drones. Technology enhance farming methods. No more manual, hard-labored implements. There are ways in which we can use technology in ideas, when to farm, how to space it, what kind of things we can use in order to reduce, say, for instance, diseases and bugs. There are certain things that technology has provided. These are on the soft side. On the hard side, we definitely need cold storage. We definitely need transportation. We definitely need systems and softwares. We definitely need, if you like, to understand, even to analyze the market, internal or external. So you have to assess the market. You have to be able to communicate to people. You have to have right proper pricing. You have to understand how the competition is responding to that given market. Remember, the market needs will need to be met by the same group of suppliers and providers. Technology would enable us to provide things in time and will enable us to, if you like, be more competitive in terms of pricing, in terms of timing of supply, in terms of maybe consistency of the supply, in terms certainly of quality. And at the end of the day, me, the individual, it reduces my effort as a local small farmer, my own efforts, my own physical energy wastes will definitely be enhanced and reduced, which improves my own quality of life, which improves my own profitability, which improves my own health. And at the end of the day, and my love for that which I'm doing for the nation, and therefore possibly to enhance therefore quantities. And instead of farming 1 acre, I will now be able to farm 4 hectares. One football field, I should now be able to, because of technology, be able to farm 4 football fields. I'll be able to plant twice, maybe 3 times in the calendar year. So technology has helped in water conservation, say in the fisheries. In the way we purify the water and recycle water. Places that are maybe away from the seashore or where water is a premium, we'll be able to circulate the water. We'll be able to aerate the water much better. So there are 101 ways in which technology has, and that's the only way forward anyway. And that's where also the private sector, not necessarily the government, that's will come in. That's the only way whereby, for instance, banks will come in, or creditors, or foreign direct investment.
All right, let's look at the impact of the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine. You agree with me that Russia is the largest producer of wheat, and as far as Nigeria is concerned, we are one of the largest importers. Now, what should we do to mitigate the effect of these homegrown solutions to encourage local production of wheat and other local products so that we can mitigate the effect of this war, because it's a reality to live with, if you agree with me?
Oh, thoroughly I do. Yeah. Wheat is now becoming a staple food. When you think of the different things we can do with meat and with wheat, pasta. How many types of pastas and spaghettis are there? 15 to 20 different types of pastas and spaghetti. And that's from wheat. Bread. Do you know the quantity of bread we consume in this nation? It's unbelievable. Also for beverages and drink production, alcohol, for instance. Definitely too for feed milling and so on, that we feed our animals. So wheat is definitely becoming a staple food. Maybe it's the staple food at the moment. Now, it goes without saying that we have to have massive, mechanized, proper farms established. We have the land, we have the climate, we have the people, we have the know-how. Technology is cheap. We can just buy it, plug and play. Why don't we have the will, the determination? Why don't we have an enabling environment whereby we have massive wheat farms? Mechanize it. It's not new. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. All we have to do is to just plug and play. And by and large, when you look at it, given the time of R&D, research, to invent, if you like, implement, what we're getting is very cheap in terms of equipment, agricultural equipment, really cheap. All we need to do is to have the desire to go and massively produce farm wheat. And the only way to do that is to have, if you like, major investments into agriculture, proper systematic thinking and vision, that strategy, that plan, the objectives, and say, we give ourselves a target and say, we must be wheat sufficient by X period of time. And we pour in resources, not just give money. No. Go in and actually do the farming. There are people, whether in academics, academic people are ready.